Good morning, my name is Ari. I'm the team manager for Anemoi Racing from St Paul's Girls' School in Hammersmith, London. I led the team and modelled the virtual pit display, built our website and helped manufacture the car.
My name is Ava and I'm our design engineer. I designed the car and did the testing on it, wrote the engineering portfolio and produced the engineering drawings for our design.
My name is Angela and I'm our head of enterprise. I wrote the enterprise portfolio, managed our social media and organised marketing events. I also managed our budget and the money that we received from sponsorship to ensure we didn't overspend.
My name is Iman and I'm our resource manager. I source materials and software as well as finding sponsorship and making connections with the industry.
One of the first things we did as a team, just starting off, was to develop a sponsorship proposal and then start searching for sponsors. This contained a variety of information about us, such as who we were, details on F1 in schools, as well as links to our donation page and social medias.
We emailed maybe 200 different companies looking for sponsorship, hoping for just a few replies. We ran into some trouble as due to many businesses struggling because of COVID, many were not willing to spend extra money on sponsorship. While most yielded nothing, we kept going and we finally managed to get some replies and coordinate contact with potential sponsors.
The worshipful company of Mercers were generous enough to grant us £1,000 in match funding, which was extremely helpful and motivating early on. With this, we knew that as long as we were able to raise our own £1,000, we would be able to effectively double that.
The tire company Genesis offered to manufacture our shirts for us, which was brilliant as we were finding it difficult to source them ourselves.
The law firm Paul John & Co gave us £200 in cash, helping us cover manufacturing costs.
The power company Highview Power gave us £250 in cash, helping us afford higher quality materials that are better for the environment.
We also collaborated with education, reaching out early on to City University of London to look for mentorship and assistance. Dr. Valsler was very willing to help and offered to mentor us and give us feedback on our work and car designs. This was invaluable to our success, providing insight that we would never have received without him. Considering that this is our first time entering in this competition, this assistance was extremely valuable.
Through City, not only did we learn a lot about how to design a fast, lightweight and compliant car, we were also introduced to other people who could further help us. An example of this is Mr. Kane from Robert May's School in Hampshire, who generously offered to CNC mill our car for us from our designs, as we didn't have a CNC milling machine we could use at school.
We also made connections with other F1 in schools teams, communicating over social media. This was very useful as we could trade tips and tricks as well as measure our speed of progress against theirs.
We started with sketching down all of our ideas on paper to get a general image of what the car could look like. We came up with a variety of ideas consisting of everything from a flat-nosed design to a bullet-shaped design to eventually something close to our final car.
We researched phenomena like the Coanda effect, the tendency of a fluid to stay attached to a curved surface, and the Venturi effect, the fact that fluid increases in velocity as it flows through a constricted section of a pipe. We also looked at general principles of aerodynamics and how cars, planes, and trains are designed.
We utilised the Coanda effect to curve the air around the rear of the car to reduce the rear vacuum. However, this resulted in a large amount of interference drag from the gas canister, so we added an innovative rear lip to try and further separate the two airflow streams. We also added wheel guards to protect the laminar airflow from hitting the front wheel and becoming turbulent, which we also thought was innovative.
We then used fillets throughout the car to reduce interference drag and created a set of vortex generators to help the airflow adhere better to the body. The body, when tested in CFD, showed a significant speed increase with the vortex generators as opposed to without, so we were quite pleased with this innovation.
It took us about a month to develop our final model for our car, as throughout the modelling process we were constantly testing and comparing different versions of the car in our CFD programme of choice, ANSYS Flowing. We continued to test and make small changes until we were happy with our design.
Some key changes on our Nationals car compared to our Regionals one was the addition of the vortex generators and a shorter, lighter nose. The wings were also altered to create less downforce, reducing drag while still having the airflow pass over the wheels.
We attempted to make cuts to our weight throughout our new design, such as thinner side pods and a hollow nose. We found that the hollow nose was a good example of a project innovation, as not only did it reduce the weight, it also helped to move the centre of the mass towards the centre of thrust, thus reducing the rotational moment while keeping the shape of our previous nose.
To manufacture, we sent off the STL files for our car to Mr. Kane at Robert May's, who CNC milled it for us. We ran into some problems with CNCing the car due to Mr. Kane's schedule and the CNC milling machine needing repair. This set us back about 5 days, but we were able to luckily make it up.
We then sanded out the CNC marks and coated the car in epoxy resin to protect the foam from the spray paint. Once it had cured, we primed it, then painted it with white spray paint and applied our decals.
Marketing was a huge part of the competition for us, as we felt that a strong team presence was important to appeal to prospective sponsors and to represent our school. The more our team Anemoi Racing and brand were known, the better our chance of success.
Our website includes a variety of information about us as a team. Here we displayed some of our work, the link to our donations page, our sponsorship information and tiers, and a link to our email address where we could be contacted by potential sponsors.
Our social media kept people updated on our work and helped us push a more clear image for us as a team. It also let us stay easily in contact with sponsors and interact more with the F1 and F1 in Schools community, which was lovely and great for our brand. To increase the reach of our social media, we reached out to a variety of F1 content creators and received promotion for our account from 3. We thought this was innovative as it allowed us to push our reach through the already existing F1 community.
We also planned a variety of marketing events, such as a school-wide scale lectures competition, parents' lecture, and presentations at primary schools. Each of these helped us appeal to a different demographic, expanding our reach and getting our brand further afield.
We had 3 levels of sponsorship, each with varying rewards of return on investment, depending on the funds or resources donated. This helped us balance our needs as a team and the needs of our sponsors. We also offered sponsor-specific rewards for our Platinum tier, which the Mercer's company took us up on, organizing community work in primary schools for us.
We feel that participating in F1 in schools has been an invaluable experience for all of us. We've learned so much and have been given a brilliant opportunity to really push ourselves extracurricularly.
We would have never had the chance to learn how to work with industry or find sponsorship if it wasn't for F1 in schools, or learn how to effectively create and market a brand. These are skills that are not only extremely valuable, but skills that you wouldn't learn within the typical school curriculum.
It's also taught us adaptability and the values of teamwork. Going into this, we were a little bit thrown into the deep end, not having much idea of what to do, and in the midst of a pandemic. We not only had to learn how to teach ourselves skills like working with CAD and CFD, but we had to learn soft skills like working in a team, managing time, and communicating effectively whilst we couldn't see each other in person.
While it's very easy to point to our newfound skills in marketing, engineering, and graphics, we think a much more valuable gain from this competition was the confidence we gained in both our own skills and our ability as a team. It's been great to do something that we each were keen to do because of our own interests that's so different from the work we do in school.
Being team manager, it was definitely a challenge to manage 3 people in their jobs, on top of car manufacturing and graphic design, as well as 3D work for the pit display. At times, it could be a bit overwhelming, but doing this has really given me a chance to hone my organizational skills, as well as practice using software such as Photoshop and Blender. Considering I'd like to go into VFX, or had any chance to use these programs is useful to me.
Going into this competition, I had no idea how to use CFD, and I had only ever briefly used Fusion 360 for small projects. Despite having to learn both these skills pretty much from scratch, I can now only improve on what I've learned so far, which will hopefully help me in a future career in mechanical engineering.
Managing marketing and enterprise has been a brilliant opportunity to practice both my branding and my persuasion skills, as well as having to learn how to budget and manage money. Considering I'd like to go into economics or finance, this has taught me a lot about how money works on a small scale.
While sourcing all our materials and looking for sponsors, I spent much of the time learning about different products and the best methods of purchasing and shipping. This has given me a great insight on what it's like to provide for a small team of just 4. I'd like to go into a management job, so providing it for a team is a key skill for that.
If we were to attempt this competition again, we would look to recruit some more people to more effectively share the workload and spend some more time marketing our brand. We would also look further into channeling air underneath the side pods, iterating on our previous design. We would also be progressing into professional class, in which we would need to develop the car without the restrictions of the no-go zone, as well as exploring different wheel setups. We're really excited to continue this journey together, and we hope to see you again in Worlds.